Good evening and welcome to the We Are Rise show. How you doing on this hump day? Look, we have a big, heavy bevy show, so we're going to get right to it. I want to welcome my co-host, Marshall Smith. What's going on, buddy? A lot of stuff is just all over the place, and we got to get to it. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, and keep seeing these scientists get knocked off. So
Yeah,
I
we're
know
going to
that's
cover that. We're going to
yeah.
definitely get into all that, my friend. And,
So
and look,
yeah,
I know that pill.net has been having problems all day. So keep me in the loop 5x5. Let me know what's going on. I need to understand where we are. If you cannot connect with pill.net, you can find us on YouTube. I am there. It's working perfectly. Right? Rizone 9300. Hello. Good evening. And True Terran and Alita over here on Rumble. You can go over there. It is still working and functioning. If you want to support the platform and you can't do it on pill.net, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/wearerise. It's important to support the stream and keep it alive and operational. If you want to help out Marshall, ko-fi.com/surfdog74. You could see it. It's in the chat. Everybody knows what's going on. Tonight's show, funding extremism. We're going to get to SPLC and their connections to neo-Nazis and I'd have to say KKK, and even Nick Fuentes. He's a part of it. And I have to tell you right now, like everybody else is now seeing right now who these people really are, the cross connection, the intersectionality that people like to see. It's crossing boundaries. And now all you have to do is walk away, completely just avoid these people. Don't give them any quarter because you know they're bunk. Conspiracy fever pitch, or I say pitches. There's going to be a lot of talk about conspiracies tonight. The show is going to be heavily relegated in that. Spirit gets new wings. We're going to talk about Spirit Airlines. The Trump administration is going to buy 90% of their stock. That's $500 million to keep this thing afloat. That comes out of Dania, Florida, to keep this thing alive. I don't know why, but I guess it's because to continue on with the operation of traveling, because if the Biden administration did not hamper and get involved in nixing the deal with JetBlue, it would have been a bigger operation. We'd had more planes, more transcontinental, let's just say, departures. But since that didn't happen, here we are right now. Maybe rename it Trump Airlines. How about that one? I have a discussion and talking point on that. Supremes get powdered up. I'm not talking like face powder. They're getting dolled up. I'm talking about there's a discovery of information about finding out during the Dobbs decision that people were sending white powder to the Supreme Court, and they were opening up in chambers. Lucky for them, it was just battery dust and all this other stuff. It wasn't nuclear dust or anthrax or anything else. Thank God. But it was covered up by Roberts, and Roberts is resigning. He will resign. President Trump will reappoint somebody. Alito and what's his name? They're not going away. They're not going away. Not yet. Not yet at all. So let's get into tonight's, let's just say, cacophony of craziness that we're seeing, because we know we're not the racists. We know we're not the arbiters of this machination that is continue on to eliminate white people, which is their plan. It was always their plan. And the way they did it is what? To sell racism out there, okay, profit off that, and then what? Attack us, crucify us, bring us down to a level, murder us. That was the plan. And you know what? Not good anymore. S.C. Roberts resigned. No, he hasn't. Supreme Court Roberts has not resigned. Okay, I'm suggesting in some way that the argument about Alito and Thomas, that they were going to resign, they pushed back about it. But there is talk that Roberts is going to step down. We don't know when. I will get to that very soon. Let me show you some funny stuff that's going on here. Marshall sent this to me, and I think this was brilliant. And it's all over X. The SPLC realizing if there isn't enough racism, they could just make shit up.
Down, people! Unless we get these hate crimes up, we are out of a job. No more matcha lattes. Is this getting through to you?
If there's not enough racism, what if we made racism?
That's it.
We don't care how you do it. We just need more hate
This
crimes.
is exactly how it's done. Beautifully tallied. And I think it's perfect orchestration about giving you some type of
Racism is down, people.
I think it's fantastic, Marshall. And now that we're seeing how these things are illuminating and how they're coming out, I'm going to jump right to the next subject. Let's hold your thoughts. Here comes Slay News. Now, there's a shit ton of articles on WLT, Politico, and everything. I chose Slay News. Gets to the point. DOJ indicts far-left Southern Poverty Law Center for fraud and money laundering. Attorney General Blanche and FBI Director Patel have announced that federal grand jury has returned an indictment against 11 people, accusing them of far-left organization fraud, money laundering, and deceptive financial practices tied to its operation over a decade. That means over the term of President Trump's, let's just say presidency, since like 15, 16, and here we are. The charges: 6 counts wire fraud, 4 counts bank fraud, 1 count conspiracy to commit money laundering. According to the indictment, prosecutors allege between 14 and 23, the SPLC paid $3 million to 8 individuals, to extremist organizations, referring to them as internally as field sources, meaning they sent money. They sent money as confirmation to pay these people of organizations that are the Ku Klux Klan, United Klans of America, National Socialist Party of America, American Front. Remember those people? Patriot Front, and other organizations. One individual received more than $1 million. It sounds like BLM. You can see how this is all contrived and how it intersects like BLM. $1 million while affiliated with the National Alliance. Another was identified as holding a leadership role with United Klans of America. Prosecutors also cited a case involving approximately $270,000 paid over 8 years to an individual tied to organizers of 2017 Unite the Right protests. Remember that? In Charlottesville, Virginia, when President Trump got attacked because he said this is all fake and gay, and he called this out. And what happened was, he's a racist. Right before he gets into the office, they want to hang this around him. And now we're seeing, and you're going to see, I'm going to show you, okay, how much the media, how much all these people, all these confluencers, all these people have sold you lies and continue to do so, and you believe them. It's time to cut bait. It's time to push back. Where are they? You got 11 people indicted, arrested. Prosecutors are now citing a case involving approximately that amount of money. The Justice Department alleges that these individuals actively promoted extremist ideologies while receiving payments because they call us racist, but they were paid to become something they're not. All paid actors, but we're the racists. We're all these different things. We're the sexist. We're all these horrible things. But when we call them out, we're worse than them. Well, I didn't see a check in the mail because Netanyahu took it. What the fuck are you talking about? Claims of misuse and donor funds. The indictment alleges that donor funds were used to support these payments without disclosure, contradicting the organization's stated mission. Attorney Blanche said alleged conduct represented a fundamental breach of trust. You think? You think in some way it is instead manufacturing extremism. Its purpose, it purports to oppose by paying sources that they stoke racial hatred. That's obvious. Alleged use of shell entities to conceal payments. Prosecutors further allege that the SPLC created bank accounts under fictitious organizations, sounds like BLM, with no legitimate business purposes in order to move money. Caymans, over. I mean, you think about bank accounts overseas. According to the indictment, funds were routed through these accounts, distributed via prepaid cards. What a shocker there. A structure prosecutors say were designed to obscure the origin of payments from financial institutions and donors. FBI Director Patel described the alleged scheme as a deliberate effort to evade oversight. They set up shell companies, entities around America, so financial institutions were deceived into believing the money was coming from legitimate sources rather than SPLC. Remember I talked about it on Thomas's show, and if you watched me last night, I was on there. I had a lot to say on his return, but I have to clearly state that we discussed many times in the arguments that there are paid actors that are protest performers that you can hire to protest and to mitigate and to propagate such said discussions in order to generate the revenue that comes in. This is no different in this way. What it was is that they were paying people, okay, to perpetrate not the fraud of hate, but the illusion that America is a fucking hateful country, and to what? Conceive some type of notion that we can use this politically to denigrate, deliberately divide the country, and then use this onto attacking white people and breaking them down so we can bring in mass illegal criminal illegal scum. This was done to perpetrate an ongoing fraud. This is a serious, egregious violation of a group that purported to dismantle violent extremists. No individual defendants were named yet. Obviously, organization background, I'm not going to get into. The indictment now sets up high-profile legal battle that can have significant implications for nonprofits, operations, credibility as federal prosecutors move forward in the case. Think about that and how that is germane to the subject. Marshall, your talking points about this. This is right now we're seeing something that is completely, breaking down. We had BLM, we saw what the structure, the power structure is. Antifa, we see what the structure is that. And now you see the SPLC that's been, let's just say, activated since 71 out of Alabama, utilizing the veneer or the vernacular or the cover, the smokescreen of civil rights in some way, when they were there perpetrating some type of nefarious scam onto the American electorate to accuse white people to actually what? Flood America with illegal immigrants to prop up the idea in some way that we need more illegal criminal alien scum of brown and black people that will murder and rape and kill white people. All right, so we can even out the playing field and make it a lot better. This is exactly why we're living in this condition. Democrats funded it. It comes from all these different groups in some way. And this is why I'm telling you right now, the real racism, the real pushback is going to come from vigilantism. And I will say this again. If the FBI and the American government, the Department of Homeland Security, doesn't get this in tow with about 100 million people, you will see white people on the streets as they should. Not just defending, but executing justice. Because we're tired of seeing the real reason why this was put in your face. And I would implore people to consider being strapped and making sure you understand what this was. This was something that was sold. People were paid to what? Communicate a narrative that all white people, okay, in some way are neo-Nazis or racists in some way. And this was the subject matter to drive the mass migration of illegal criminal alien scum in our country. And these people are committing crimes, okay, all over the place. It is absolutely disgusting. And these people should pay a higher price because they profited off of it. They paid people illegally to do this. And they sold a narrative that they continue to do, that the mainstream media ran with. And we know that any of these people that are associated with it that took money from, they're going down too.
Well, this is just the beginning, because there's a whole shit ton of other groups that are involved with the SPLC, and many individuals and politicians. So this is going to take down a lot of people, or at least it should. And we're getting more. With another congressperson gone today, I guess.
80-year-old Georgia representative.
Yeah, the guy died. Yeah.
Who cares? Who gives a fuck? That's one good thing that we get a seat in the House. Let them run. Let's run another seat. Who gives a fuck about that? But continue.
Yeah, I understand. My point is that it's going to affect that number.
Yeah.
That number is going to grow. What the reason is, it's going to be more of this. What we just that story you just read.
Yeah.
It's going to be more of that reason.
Mhm.
I think we're going to see more I think we're going to see people resign. I think, if you're anywhere near this, and a lot of them were, Pelosi was probably one of the top people involved with this group.
Mhm.
Her and what's his name, the FBI
Schumer?
guy.
Oh, I mean,
Remember
Chris
the guy,
Ray?
the
Comey?
guy, the older guy that pretended he was a patriot and he was MAGA. Go up the stairs. We got to go inside. That guy.
Oh, Ray something. Yeah.
Ray Epps.
Ray Epps,
The guy
yeah.
that called in and complained or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, what happened to him anyway? I mean, nothing really happened to him, and we could see that he was obviously part of that Patriot Front group, or all these people that
Right.
were being paid out and shilled out in some way. Let me continue. We got a heavy show. So I just want to move forward. I have so many double features of commentary, Politico, this, that, but I only want to delve into the real nitty gritty. Just paying informants. We're told this comes from Awaken Outlaw. SPLC paid the leader of the American Nazi Party, a former KKK member, the Aryan Nations director, $70,000 while listing him as an extremist on their own website. Wow. Yeah. And remember, during that time with Charlottesville in Virginia in 2017, they were stoking the flames, saying, Trump's a racist. And yet he called this out, saying, this is all fake and gay, that all these people are paid agitators and paid props. And now you see it. And now it only took 10 years to really come out, 9 years to come out, and then you're seeing this. So everything that has been done to President Trump has been done to you and I. You are seeing it. People are like, nothing's happened in this administration. Really? I'm seeing a lot of shit that went back 5, 6, 7, 8 years that is now coming into what? View. People could see in focus of what is happening. What was this organization? And now this organization is going to come crumbling down. He is dismantling every network of cabal, deep state, engineering, NGO groups all across the thing. You're like, and you're worried about gas. You're worried about this. You're worried about that. He is removing all these roadblocks, all these obstacles of deep state foreign actors that were there to what? Destroy you, destroy your life, destroy your family's life, to undercut you, to call you a racist, to fucking put you in a box. That's what this was about. He's doing everything he can. His administration is whitewashing, or maybe the powers that be behind President Trump are doing away with all these people, and you're seeing it on a daily basis. And this is the right move, and this is how we should see things.
Just like you
Wait,
said.
I got more. Hold on. You can comment after this. I want your commentary after this, so please.
All right, go ahead.
Hold on. You're going to comment after this. All right. Remember this guy? Look how young he was in 2017. Flashback, Nick Fuentes discusses going to Charlottesville for being Unite the Right rally, which is now being revealed of him being funded by SPLC, according to the FBI. Here's this guy. So what is he, 28? So back then he was probably, 21, 20? Here you go. Listen to what he's saying.
Unite the Right is let's put every important person in our movement in one place, and everyone sees us as a threat to civilization. I mean, isn't that kind of worrisome? I don't know. I mean, I hope I'm not concerning people. I'm still going to go. You can't live your life in fear, but you think of it that Kessler, Enoch, Spencer, James Alsop, Baked Alaska. I mean, like everyone's going to be there. Sam Hyde, Lauren Southern, people from Rebel Media are going to be there. And I don't know. Is that a great idea? I don't know who thought it'd be a great idea. Like, hey, let's all go to Lee Park. Everyone thinks we're Nazis and bigots, and let's just go in the middle of an open field, all the important people. Look, I understand the importance of rallying the troops, building the morale, uniting the right. That's why I'm going, but I am a little worried about that part of it, that you might get some nut job, some Travis Bickle LARPer down there with some bad intentions and some.
And there was a guy that ran over somebody. He's serving life in prison, killed people, injured people in some way. But you could see This guy was never a part of what? The right. He was never for Trump. He was the confluencers, as I've been saying, confluencers that stoked you into believing, vote for Trump, and then when Trump gets in, and then we're going to demasculate him, demasculate all his supporters, and what we're going to do is we're going to make a shit ton of money, and then we're going to embarrass him in the midterms, and we're going to continue on this narrative. This is the point. I'm Dave Smith, Tucker Carlson. I hate to say it, and the way Tucker Carlson is acting right now, apologizing to his audience about this, these people were never Trump. They were always behind the scenes shills, making the big bucks, being paid, being pushed out to do things, LARPing, and I can tell you right now, fuck them and die. Okay? The shibs are now out, ladies and gentlemen. You're getting ready to be strapped. It's hunting season. Get your rifles ready, your scopes on. I'm serious. It's hunting season for all these people who sold the narratives, that continue on the lie, that have now what? Blood on their hands. Blood on their hands. American blood on their hands. And they will pay a heavy price, I promise you. Because if the law don't get them, vigilante justice will, I think, rise to the occasion. Because this is where we are right now. These fucking fools, okay, who pretended to be one thing and they were a sham for another, getting paid off the dole in the tit, collecting money, okay, attacking you, convincing you, selling you a narrative, becoming something that they're not, knowing full well this is who they are and who they operate from. And I'm glad. I'm just saying right now, there needs to be more indictments for the SPLC. We need to see this institution be shuttered, closed down, excoriated. Lawsuits need to have percolated and precipitated. And Marshall, your thoughts about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I mentioned a second ago. He's doing the same thing he did with USAID. And this guy, Nick Fuentes,
very good point.
He could end up being helpful. I don't know if he will or not.
You mean as a witness, as a material witness,
of a lot of things?
From them?
Yeah, because he knows. Obviously,
very good point.
He knows a whole lot. So
very good.
And he doesn't seem to be. He seems to me that if he would be threatened with going to prison.
You're cutting out.
If he would have to go to prison or face that, he would be the last one that would want to go there.
So you're saying there's a possibility that if he was paid, and I don't have any evidence that he was, I'm just saying from what we see, he was shilling for them. If they have information that him and many other people were paid out to organize this rally in Charlottesville during that time and to continue on that narrative and stuff, would it be emblematic in some way that the FBI redirects a conversation towards him and say, hey, look, all right, we're going to give you some talking points here. You can lawyer up. You can do this, you can do that, or you can become a material witness. Okay. And then we can give you carte blanche. And then you can testify about this. All right. I don't know if it's going to change anything. I'm not even implying that they're targeting per se. But I have to think there are many people in this indictment that are going to be under the umbrella, all right, of the FBI, that they're going to target and say, if you want to help yourself, help us bring down the big dogs and expose this type of, let's just say, narrative relationship, this whole thing of confluencers or many other different things that are out there that are acting outside the bounds that we can connect financial payments to. I think this is important. I think people need to understand that and see that it just doesn't end with just indicting people. You want to make sure people are ready to flip on the bigger ups, the higher ups, to find out how pervasive, how permissive, how expansive this whole operation was. And you want to go through to make sure that you want to toggle in influencers or confluencers. I call them con influencers. That's what I call them right now. You want to continue on that narrative to make sure that we see some type of culpability, responsibility, and let's just say affirmation that these things will be upheld and that we can qualitatively and quantify the narrative as what it was, because we just don't know how SPLC was expanding outside through digital media, social media algorithms, and every way else, Marshall.
I bet there's people on the phone right now. I would not be surprised if there are people talking
I agree.
right now. I mean,
I
literally
agree.
right now. Somebody
But
just
do you
said that
understand what I'm saying?
they canceled
There are
his
people in the
show.
chat saying, I don't understand what you're saying. Can you elaborate to them? I guess maybe I'm speaking on their ends and I apologize, but I'm trying to show you that there's much more here than you can understand. Go ahead, Marshall.
No, it's somebody. I think it was anyway. Trusty Turner says Nick canceled his show today.
Ooh.
So okay.
Oh, very
Is it a
interesting
permanent
point.
cancel or is it just
Well,
canceled
go ahead,
for
Marshall.
tonight?
Continue.
Yeah, is it canceled for tonight? I mean, let us know. Or is
Yeah.
it permanent? That would
Yeah.
be very interesting. But
Mm.
no. This is gonna. I think a lot of people have no idea how big this is, Brett,
No, they don't.
because
They're
this
not
is all.
processing like you and I.
Yeah, this is all that was on X today.
Mhm.
Just about nothing else was there. I mean, it was just loaded, especially this morning. It blew up. And it's so big. SPLC, these people have been around a long time, Brett. We
Since
know that.
1971.
Yeah, that's since almost the civil rights era,
Mhm.
right there on the edge. And this is all they've done. This is going to affect, think of it. What was it? Well, Al Sharpton, all of those, it's going to affect all those people
Yeah.
big time.
Mhm.
And I just,
Well, that's the point. The
I
grifters,
haven't
the
had time
grafters,
to process it.
the con influencers, or the
Yeah,
confluencers, as I call them. You're going to see a lot of these people being taken down. They're going to be taken down, eviscerated, and they will ask to be deposed in some way to reveal their sources or basically walk away or capitulate. We don't know. Let's continue on. Alita says, I hate his voice. You hate my voice? Okay.
no, I think she means Nick.
Oh, you mean Nick's? Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Kind of shill little gay baby, so you can see it. You're alleging that South Poverty Law Center was paying leaders of the KKK. Todd Blanche goes off. Listen to this.
For certain to do certain things, and
It's
so yes,
insane.
that's exactly what the indictment charges.
It's insane.
I just want to make sure I understand. You're alleging that the Southern Poverty Law Center was paying the leaders of KKK and other groups to continue their operations? Is that?
I'm not alleging it. The grand jury returned an indictment that says that. And so what the investigation found, according to the indictment that was returned today, is that they were paying. So Southern Poverty Law Center is raising money, asking folks to give them money to dismantle racism, and over a very long period of time, they were using some of the money
Up
they
to $1
raised
billion
from donors to pay to, they call them field, basically to informants, for information, for access, to just pay them for certain to do certain things. And so yes, that's exactly what the indictment charges.
Yes, Trump won. And good to see you. It's Con Inc. It's Con Inc. all over the place. It's more than Con Inc. because Con Inc. really stretches into the people of what we're talking about. I mean, if you extrapolate and separate who Con Inc. is, there's very varying groups of Con Inc. But we're talking deep, dark people that are highly activated and motivated working with this in some way. It's worse than we can possibly imagine. Let's continue and move on. I got more of this. You want to hear something else? I got something right now that you'll see. And this is about Charlottesville. Here's the acting attorney general on Fox News speaking with Laura Ingraham. Holy crap, one of the people paid by the leftist NGO and Poverty Center organizer in 2017, Charlottesville, Virginia, Unite Rally, was used by Democrats as a hoax to paint white supremacy to be larger than it is. And the SPLC paid for it. Now it's been indicted for multiple of these kinds of. See, when you see this, and you're going to hear the Attorney General speak about this, now you can understand why the mass migration, illegal criminal alien scum were brought in, because they were juxtaposing this type of intersectionality with the idea that, hey, look, there's so many white people in this country. They need to be taken down a peg, and we need to bring in criminal, illegal scum, alien scum that will be violent, bellicose, okay, and that will kill at will, and they will afford a bunch of judges, mostly Jews and bagels, to what? Allow these people to walk through these things instrumentally in sanctuary cities and states of these fiefdoms to allow to continue on bringing them down. And that's what the plan was. It was always set up in this way. And now that you're seeing how this is unfolding, now you're getting a bigger picture.
Administration and then mysteriously closed. I really don't have any information about why it was closed. And then we started again last year. The FBI did, working with the U.S. Attorney in Alabama. And it's extraordinarily egregious. You just talked about it. But imagine a donor to the SPLC if they were told, by the way, we're going to give the money you're giving us to the Ku Klux Klan. Okay? Like, in some cases, over $1 million. I mean, it's incredible.
Now, they say they're no longer using these informants in this way, and that it was necessary because they had all sorts of threats against the organization, firebombing threats, and other acts of purported violence. And that's why they had to
listen
use
to
these
the end of
informants.
this
And to that you say?
conversation.
Well, to that I say, for one, the indictment charges all the way through 2023. So I'm here to speak about what they're doing right now, but that indictment charges a long period of time through 2023. And second, and more importantly, there's no allegation or information in the indictment that suggests they shared that information with law enforcement. They have communicated.
They said they did.
Well, they have communicated when they so chose with law enforcement over the years. There's no information that we have that suggests that the money that they were paying to these informants and these members of these organizations, they then turned around and shared what they learned with law enforcement.
Wow.
To the contrary, or else we would have known from their own words that they had given this money to these guys, and we didn't know it.
What about Charlottesville and the Charlottesville Unite the Right rally? Were they involved in that?
Yes. So what we allege in the indictment and what the grand jury found is that one of the individuals that they paid was one of the folks who helped organize that terrible event. And so so imagine what we're talking about, Laura. We're talking about an organization that actively came out and just screamed it from the top of their lungs.
So just so people understand watching this, did these informants in some cases, given the evidence you've seen, actually initiate what would ultimately be these activities? And obviously Charlottesville ended with a tragedy.
Well, we know that they were part of those. They were part of it. Whether they were the leaders or the initiators, that'll come out, I think, eventually. But what we do know is that the very entities that this group was raising money to go against are the very entities that they were taking the money in and paying to these entities and these individuals associated with those groups.
What was the money?
Big.
Well, we don't know, because again, all we know
don't
is that
know?
they set up these fictitious bank accounts.
Fake names, like the Constitution Group or whatever it was called. Then they had one called Fox Photography.
Right. They're completely fictitious as far as the investigation has shown.
So apparently racism is fake and gay. And all these race hustlers, like you said, Al Sharpton, who's been the biggest race hustler for a very long time, all these people set up types of entities and groups, LLCs and fronts, to profit off. They always have, to make sure they demonstrably always blame the white man and the white woman. And just basically what? We need more black this, more brown this. No, we don't. We need less of those people. We need to remove these people from our country. In fact, they came in this country, stolen identities, okay? Stolen migration. You know, we talk about stolen valor. These people should not be here. Muslims, illegals, Mexicans, all these people in general from third world shithole countries should not be here. They are here to replace you, to take over your livelihood, to blame you for the impetus of what SPLC has basically fraudulently set up. And this lie and this narrative is going to ring out. I will no longer sit by my side. I will promote everything white will be bright and shining through. There'll be no black or brown in my viewpoint, okay? I might have some type of color refraction in my eyes, but I can see clearly about everything during the day. I need to make sure that you understand where I'm coming from, okay? I am so tired of this stuff. I'm so tired of black fatigue, brown fatigue, illegal fatigue. It's because of SPLC. There is no longer a reason that you should hold back your verbose, bellicose, points about what? It's okay, it's grandiose to be white. You should thank God for that, and we need to expand upon that. We need to expound upon that. We need to have more white people in this country. There is nothing racist about it, and we're showing you tonight. The bottom line is it was driven by a fake voter civil rights organization in Alabama during the 70s of SPLC to what? Pay out organizations to create and to promote fake enragement onto what? Black and brown people. And so we can what? Change the laws, change the districting. We can do all these things. Why do you think they got rid of what? Hanging. Remember Congressman a couple of years ago? They removed hanging because they know we would hang them, but we don't have to hang them. I am telling you right now, vigilantism is on the rise. It's going to happen. It will continue to happen because it has to happen. Because if the police and maybe the feds and other agencies are not able to overturn the problems we have in our country with illegal criminal aliens and black fatigue, brown fatigue, you know what? I look at white people now as the minority, and I think your livelihood and survivability is going to be based upon how strapped you are.
Yeah, you know what, Brett? You mentioned something that caught my eye. You mentioned the judges. Now look at all these black female and white female woke judges that are releasing these guys that go out and murder our white people. The white women, they rape, they murder. The old people, they push them in the train track. This shit, hopefully, I really do hope that this SPLC shit, it's got to go back to some of these judges.
Yep.
There's no way that they cannot be connected in some way, because these judges, it's our justice system is a mess. It's destroyed.
Yeah, it's well, obviously it's controlled by a lot of the Bagel Bar Association, and a lot of the people that sit on there are that are anti-white. I don't care what you are. If you're Jewish, you're anti-white. You know it, and I know it. You don't basically care in general, and you're okay to give these people passes in some way. Yes, Alphabet Omega Pill gives a new meaning to I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. I dream of a white Christmas every day. I dream of it whiter and clearer and better. That what makes America better, okay? Because we can grow foundation off of it. Everything else is just Popeyes, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I didn't get my EBT card bonbons, okay? And so now something has to be done about it. Yeah, good luck with that. Maybe fucking take a diet pill, do something in some way, or kill yourself, because no one really gives a shit, because your fucking high-end pumps, okay, that you're wearing with a 3-inch fat that are hanging over your ankles, don't give a shit. So these were warranted hard questions. Act Blue employees pleaded the fifth. I don't know if anybody saw this. Apparently, 146 times in a row during Congress. Pro tip, it might not come out as a surprise to hear a Democrat-aligned organization, another one, accused of fraud, but when House Republicans actually managed to round up a few representatives from the leftist fundraising committee, Act Blue, hearing produced literally zero answers. I'm not surprised, because they all know they're going to be prosecuted, so they were told, shut your mouth, okay, or you're going to be executed. The group has faced accusations that accepted illegal donations, and it conspired to cover up these acts. As the Judiciary Committee reported, all 5 Act Blue employees provided conspicuously consistent testimony. That is none at all. All right, I'm not going to read it because I got more important things. So I'm not surprised about this in general. Let me say thank you out there to a lot of people. Darrell L., Gift in the Can. The only people protesting are people living off the sweat of patriots, hard-earned tax dollars. Yeah, and money that's stolen that go to the Federal Reserve on top of that. Darrell L., Gift in the Can. For one thing, patriots aren't things. All right, they're hardworking people that apparently are paying for their own demise by taxation, where that money goes out the door to what? Support groups like that, to profit and to pick up blacks, bagels, browns, third worlders, and to make them more comfortable in our life. We need to make them more uncomfortable. Yes, I'm saying it. I will continue to say it, because my life okay? And the way I see it right now, if another black person on a lowrider bike comes over to me when I'm walking my dog asking me for change at 9 o'clock at night, all right, I'm going to pull my gat. Don't fucking come at me. Go get a job, you fucking loser piece of shit. All right? Where are the police? See, people are tired of this nonsense. Get a fucking job or fuck right off. Darlow gifted the can separating the wheat from the chaff. I'm not planning on getting the chaff. Exactly. 1/3 are gifting the can. Darlow gifted the can. Don't resign if you're guilty. Do us all a favor and use the red scarf. Very good. Very funny. Kate Spade. Boneless Chicken gifted the shades. What's up, brother? USA, Wood USA, thank you for the 217 gold pills. Very good. Let's continue on as we move forward. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop us a pill. Drop us commentary. Drop us questions, comments. You can help us out on YouTube. buymeacoffee.com/wearerise or help out Marshall at ko-fi.com/surfdog74. You can help us out with Rumble Rants. Is Rumble working? I don't see anybody in the chat. If it's not working, let me know, and I will try to resettle the chat. I don't know if it's working or not. I don't see anybody in there. All right, we got to move on. We got some big things to talk about. Here we go. So we're going to get into what happened with I'll put it this way. I'm just going to move forward on this with Virginia. Okay? Where were you? GOP faces backlash if Virginia voters approve congressional map. You can't brag about a huge war chest and then continue to leave Republicans stranded in blue. I think everybody gets the gist, and every single Republican, especially in those Virginia, have every right to be furious with the grand old party. Last night, Virginia voters approved the Democrat-favored congressional map, giving Democrats a 10-1 advantage. I'll leave it at that. I got so much more to show you, but I don't want to digress about too many things. And I will play this for you so you can understand if you weren't watching, if you weren't paying attention about this. Here we go. This comes from Eric Daugherty that puts this in perspective. CNN has to admit that the Democrats are stealing districting through the redistricting that Spamberger, the bagel, okay, the witch bagel, basically said, oh, we're not going to do it in 2025. We're not going to do it. And now they're going to, everything a Democrat tells you, think the opposite they're going to do. Holy smokes, even CNN is forced to report how badly the Democrats are doing this to steal this election. Here we go.
Results in 10 of the 11 congressional districts in Virginia leaning towards Democrats. And just take a look at how this map is structured. What they do is they've taken the heavily Democratic areas in the northern area of Virginia, and they've created 5 separate districts that basically pinwheel out to go out into conservative, more rural areas, including where we are right now in the proposed 7th congressional district. It's actually interesting. We're kind of like smack dab in the middle of the district. And if you go in one direction, there's another district about 1.5 miles away. In the other direction, there's another district about 2 miles away, really highlighting the shifts that are being seen right now.
See, they can't hide it. They know that this whole thing is fugazi. They know that this whole thing is a steal. We're going to get to it because I got a couple other things I want to show you. Marshall, your thoughts? Let me get into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's my old state, and the Spanberger lady, she is out of
CIA. She's CIA.
She's former CIA. All of that. So I feel sorry for my brother who lives up there still. It's
right.
They're destroying our state. They're destroying Virginia. It's sad.
So Barry Cunningham puts out more winning. Nick Sorta says a Virginia Circuit Court has just ruled yesterday redistricting vote unconstitutional and has issued an injunction blocking the results for being certified. Wow. Per Ken Cuccinelli. This is big and not over yet. Let's play a little bit of this, and I'll get into
a new pro-Democrat congressional map in a controversial referendum that critics have slammed
big news,
as a
big
power
news.
grab. The outcome threatens the already very tight Republican House majority. Mark Meredith is live in Alexandria, Virginia, with more on this. And Mark, that vote ended up pretty narrow.
Bill, it sure did a lot narrower than some people were expecting, and Virginia voters showed up in huge numbers to determine Tuesday's redistricting referendum. This morning, Democrats are celebrating the outcome, saying they're putting a check on President Trump's power. But Republicans say this is simply proof that Virginia has lost its way. More than 3 million people cast their ballot in what you said was a narrowly defined race. However, voters chose to give the legislature power to redraw congressional maps before November's midterms. The new map is expected to take Republicans down from 5 congressional districts to 1. We heard from the chair of the National Republican Congressional Committee, who wrote, Democrats can't redraw reality. This close margin reinforces that Virginia is a purple state that shouldn't be represented by a severe partisan gerrymander.
And I'll leave it at that because I got more. I mean, I got to cut my time because I got to get into the bigger stuff that my plan is to suggest. And let me say that here we go. Raw Story reports this out. So now you understand that. So let me just tell you and give you the quick fix about this. All right. A circuit court judge entered into an injunction blocking the certification of the election. That's big. So, and it was denied a motion to stay pending, meaning once the final draft of the appeal, or order is entered into the actual judicial finding, then they can appeal thereafter. But they want to make sure that they get this right so that if an appeal will happen to another federal court or to an appeals court or maybe to the Supreme Court or to their court, that the information that is provided will have to be reflexively looked at and skewed in a proper way. So the way that this judge authenticated this blockade on this injunction, they want to make sure that they get their T's and I's crossed and dotted, because they want to make sure that it's going to be very hard to not just to appeal it from a circuit court to another, that they'll have to move up to find out a higher court. So the opportunity where this will be, again, denied and then move to a higher court and then denied is what they're working on. And that's what this circuit court judge has done. Very smart. Trump demands court fixes the Democrats' victory in blue states. And I'll have to leave it at that. Trump erupted on social media Wednesday after Virginia voters elected to adopt new congressional. He said they rigged it. And there's no doubt about it. There was a period of time that they were losing, and then 50,000 votes came in, mail-in balloting, all it is, and changed everything that could bolster Democrats' electoral prospects in November, calling the election rigged without evidence, expressing hope that the courts will fix this travesty. The bottom line is that there was a period of time where they were losing this, and then 50,000 votes just happened to appear, and then snap, crackle, and pop. Oh, my God. They won this. So again, the authenticity of this whole thing, this whole survivability of all this stuff will rest on the chain of evidence and the courts. And now the Justice Department is looking into this to see if there was fraud that were perpetrated onto this in some way. I mean, the idea that they're selectively saying you can only have Republicans in one district and not the other districts in Virginia. President Trump has also outlined the idea he can annex part of Virginia to D.C., where those areas were high areas where the fulfilled count of Democrats and mail-in ballots were utilized to steal this. He can annex this under the D.C. legislation as part of that, and then they will lose even more from this. This is one discussion that's being labeled at the moment. But, Marshall, I digress. This is your hometown.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be brilliant. Because
yeah, I saw it on Fox News. I saw it on Fox News.
You got the arch that he's going to build right there. You've got the veterans burial grounds, veteran memorial, and all that.
Is it possible that they can do this? If he can annex that part of D.C., take away that land.
I mean, the Pentagon is in Virginia.
Right. I mean,
when you think about it, I've driven through there a million times.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
They could get so far. I mean, they could practically get to D.C. Langley is further south than all of that shit. I mean, it's like almost halfway to D.C.
So could he ultimately annex these properties, these entities, and put it into D.C. Prospect in some way as a controlling mechanism, not to allow further types of scenarios that we're seeing right now, but also to control, like you said, the Pentagon, CIA, to put it under the umbrella of this and not outside the mechanism of DC control. Is that possible in some way? See, no one is, I think, ginning up this discussion, what that means by annexing certain land that these, let's just say, controlled entities sit upon outside the DC prospect. I'm wondering if there's something more there that we're not seeing, and this is all an illusion, and that we're just, game theorying this out. I think it's more than we're understanding, but it is a possibility. And what does that mean if it was to be what? Annexed with the Pentagon and CIA?
Well, to me, it would mean that that area is part of the federal district,
Right.
which is DC. So, I
And
mean,
under control of
the fact that you've got Langley, and that is like, I mean, it's halfway to Richmond. I mean, it is
right.
deep into Virginia, relatively speaking. And because you've got those federal agencies, I don't think it would be, I mean, I don't know. I've never even thought about this, but I would think that it's very, very plausible, very, reasonable that could happen. They'll fight. They will fight it without a doubt. But he could also do that with Maryland, parts of Maryland, because the northern part there, which is
We
where
haven't talked about this, and I will get into it in further discussion. I have to move on.
Right,
Interesting timing. Justice voters stormed the polls in Virginia. This drop, source linked dark money poured in over $64 million into supporting Virginia congressional redistricting effort. That's not good. Think about Executive Order 13848, how this is going to affect this. The main pro-referendum group, Virginians for Fair Elections, received more than $38 million from the House Majority Ford, the nonprofit of House Democrats. So we could see the dark monies all over the place, and this is all going to blow back and bite them in the ass. I think this legislation, or whatever this is, will not be passed, will not be certified. It'll end up in the Supreme Court. There might be other things that will be undertow and in play. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. I think a lot of people are just like freaking the holy hell out, but calm down. It's not over yet. It's never over yet. It's always about what you see at the moment and how it's going to be, let's just say, resolved later on. Truth out by Trump. Obama absolutely guilty of seditious conspiracy against Trump. He put a huge thing out pushing this Virginia narrative about getting and making sure that they can ascertain 4 more seats so they can overturn the House come 2026 in the elections. So President Trump is putting this out. Let's play this.
Every single American in their shoes. I hate to say this, but President Barack Obama, there is now incontrovertible evidence that he was the spearhead of a seditious conspiracy to subvert the will of the American people and overthrow the United States government back in 2016.
I'll leave you that. Hang this monkey, beat him to death like a piñata. I'm done with these people. I'm done with these people. Hang this monkey, okay, right there, okay, in Washington Square, and beat this monkey to death. We need to see and showcase that this guy was not only a fraud, was illegal to begin with, okay, the birthright citizenship, all these other things that are in play. Once this comes out and the certification of his election, that's going to be even more problematic. Everything is on the table right now. Everything right now. Our institutions are crumbling across the board because the failure to what? Think about that time they certified his election, knowing full well he was an illegal citizen. He was an American citizen. Think about how that is going to play into our timetable at this moment. Think about all the things he done to, as a Manchurian candidate, to steal this election and to what? Get in there and what? Create so much upheaval. Think about the time frame of where SPLC, let's just say, grew because of the divide, because of the black, white, gay, straight divide, LGBTQ, all the nonsense that happened under this fucking demon. And when you understand that, and when you see this in such a way, you will be fucking what? You will be holding your head up high. I'm white, I'm straight, And you know what? I'm carrying a fucking loaded firearm. Look the fuck out, because I'm headhunting you, motherfuckers. Gay, brown, black, all you people part of this what? Nefarious plot to undercut and to take down the white people of America, white Christians, to what? To kill them, to release mass migration into this country that continues on, that happens on, that are still here. They're running around like it's a fucking jungle. Nobody's coming in this country, but what are we doing to remove these people? I don't know what's happening with the new Department of Homeland Security. Mullen, look, we wouldn't want to do everything on the secrecy of like under the auspices of privacy. Yeah, that's fine in some way. But Bovina put it this way: over 100 million people are in this country illegally. I don't know how you're going to get rid of these people. How are you going to get rid of these people? The only way you can get rid of these people is that we execute these people. We don't waste the money anymore of what? Flying them out, putting them on a plane, pushing them out. It's time to remove the rot, the filth. Don't waste your time going after murderers and rapists. Just kill them. Just shoot them. Execute them where they stand. Save the taxpayers' money. Everybody else, they will see this, they will understand this, and they will be forced out on their own. Show them, hey, look, you want to be these people or you want to be them? That's how it has to be done. I'm sick of this stuff. I am sick of what? Being called a racist, being proud to be white. And now that we know it's all a fucking lie, long live white people, and may everybody else that is not white people fuck off and die. Get out of our way. Get out of our way, because I don't care anymore. I don't have any time for you people anymore. And many people are starting to wake up and realize it's getting to that point. We're reaching this apex that we've had so much of enough, because it's been proven. And all these confluences like Tucker, and I hate to say it, he is, Megyn Kelly, fucking Candace. And I don't give a shit. Candace proves that the guy didn't kill him. Nobody believes he killed Charlie Kirk, that he was framed. But I don't need Candace Owens to whisper in my ear to say, oh, yeah, because I don't give a shit. I can think for my own, Marshall.
Stop. Look, I understand everything you said. But why is it that we have not, at this point, at this time, have we not stopped giving these people money? Stop giving them welfare. Stop giving them free housing. Stop all this shit. Don't let them.
You see a homeless, spit on them. Get a job. Because either have mental disease, they're a drug addict, alcoholic, or they don't want to work. No, don't give them any money. They don't deserve anything. You talk to police officers, you talk to other people. Why can't we get land for these people? All right, put them on there, okay, and let them fucking have a carnival, a circus of freaks, and have fun with that. Whatever happens on their land, that's on you. If you can't remove them, put them on that land. All right, or what? We become Canada, and then we force people into what? Euthanasia. What's my greatest talking point on X? You're highly vaccinated. You need to what? Seek the closest opportunity to a Canadian mental health facility for redress of grievances concerning vaccination or worse, euthanasia. You need to be, look, if Canada is basically just excommunicating people willy-nilly, which I think it's wrong, all right, for mental health issues, and we're sitting here saying, why can't we fix our problems here? Because I don't want to mass exterminate people in general, especially people who have mental disease, okay? Everybody else on that, I'm okay with. But my point is, in some way, something has to be done. Something has to be redressed here and fixed, all right? Canada has no problem just excommunicating their own people. They have no problem. But Muslims that murder, rape, and kill, Chinese that are in there, it's okay. They get passes. What the fuck kind of world we're living in? What is it that we have to do as Americans to move this forward? I have to tell you right now, we have to have a better handle about how we perceive and look at Black and brown people, illegal immigrants, and many other people. because they've been given a pass, a quarter, and they don't deserve it. They haven't earned it. That's what DEI was. And you know what? At this time, I have no respect for any of these people. They can fuck off and die because we, for a very long time, let's put it this way, over 10 years, maybe longer, it's now been proven that white people were put on this pedestal and attacked as racist by organizations to pay out organizations and groups to foment fake and gay stories. So white people would be continue to be attacked, murdered, raped, and killed. I no longer accept you. No longer accept what is happening. I no longer accept anything. You roll up on me, nigger. You roll up on me, spick. You roll at me a third world. Get the fuck out of my way. You might have a fucking canoe in your head. The reality of the scenario that we are facing is extermination, extinction. By what? By bagels in some way, part of the SPLC. I'll show you. But I think in some way, you have to consider how we're going to what? Move forward from this and how to fix this problem and how to course correct this. Let me continue. We're entering now the conspiracy fever pitch. Here we are. This is what's being permeated out there and projected out there. Harvard professor answers Iranian government questions. All right, this is wired in some way. I have this. Wait, where'd this go? Actually, that's not my story that I had. Oh, okay. Here it is. I'm sorry. I don't know why. It must have moved into another position. This is about what's increasingly going on about MAGA, the supposition about Trump's scenario, about his assassination
campaign rally in July 2024. Many Trump supporters saw his survival as a sign from God, while some on the left claimed it was all staged. Fast forward to 2026, and now MAGA itself is pushing the claims about a staged shooting. Conspiracy theories within MAGA world really started to pick up when former US National Counterterrorism Center Director Joe Kent appeared on Tucker Carlson's podcast in March, the day after Kent resigned his position in protest over the war with Iran. During a discussion over the Trump administration's failure to provide more details about the shooter, who was killed by Secret Service agents, Kent claimed without evidence that investigations into the shooting had been shut down. The conspiracy theory spread among MAGA from there. Tricia Hope, a GOP national delegate from Texas and a former Trump supporter, posted on X last week to say that people needed to snap out of it and start applying critical thinking skills. Contrarian comedian Tim Dillon said on his show that he thought maybe what happened in Butler was staged. Carlson and fellow far-right podcaster Candace Owens have continued to promote claims of a cover-up in the last week. And over the weekend, former Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene joined the party, posting 3 times on X about the assassination attempt, writing that there are a lot of questions that deserve public answers and asking why the cover-up. When prominent QAnon promoter MJ Truth asked their 100,000 followers on Telegram how they were feeling about the narrative around the assassination attempt, the overwhelming response was that the incident had been staged and that the truth would never come out. There's even cross-pollination taking place between the Butler conspiracy theory and another hot topic among some of Trump's formerly staunch supporters, that he might be the Antichrist. Ali Alexander, the far-right activist who organized the Stop the Steal campaign after the 2020 election, said that the assassination attempt might not be a miracle, but a dark sign.
So I discussed this on Thomas's show yesterday when he had me on, talking about there is a narrative that's being pushed by Turkish and Russian forces and maybe even Chinese and other infiltration groups, and using this thing with the Iran war as subterfuge and propaganda. And that's what the war is about. It's about who survives the propaganda. And this is total bullshit. I'm just saying right now, this is what's going on. This is how it's heading. This is where we're seeing in some way. And the narrative that is being handpicked is that President Trump is the Antichrist, is that he has some way of maneuvered people to believe into the cult-like system and fake his assassination to convince people to vote for him and all these other things that are staged, that are in this place. But again, I would say this to people. Confirmation is key. Affirmation, okay, is the final battle. When you understand it, extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. And I will say this. Most people that don't understand this scenario in some way, the confirmation bias, searching for interpret, favor, recalling information that confirms one's pre-existing beliefs whilst ignoring contradictory evidence. Once you were invested, do people feel or filter out disinformation? I just want to be clear about that because, the idea that we are here right now, that the conveniency and the relevancy of these situations are a matter of what? Fact. You had Corey Compouture that died. You had 2 other people that were shot, and they're still living out their life, dealing with the injuries. So, did this happen or did it not happen? I watched it live. I saw it live. So the question is, how do we propose to suggest that it was fake when someone died and people were injured, and yet they're basing it off the earlobe and basing it off all these other uncertainties of theater of discussions of partial truths? So when you want to come out here and make these claims to suggest in some way these conspiracy fevered pictures, the partial of truth, the nuggets inside the reality, and the real influence or the confluence of operations and intelligence overreach really just basically stretches the mind. But the idea that we all didn't see it, I was watching it live, I was covering it live, and I saw what I saw. And that the fact is that many other people now are pushing this narrative out. You have to think who these people are, what are they getting paid for, and how this propaganda or agitprop is being utilized to as accountability or weaponization against President Trump. So you have to consider the fever pitch. So we're living in a contradiction, a paradox. We're living in so much of enigmas and conundrums that are cross-referencing people's claims because they can't get their head wrapped around that these things could conveniently happen to someone it's already happened to. And so when they see it in a prima facie level, and the way this ended, they have a problem of the result because the FBI ended this in some way, and their determination was he was dead, he was killed. There's nothing to see or say here, and it's on them. So why is it on them? And excuse me, why is it on President Trump when they're the ones who have not been grilled about this, who have not been chastised about this? They're the ones who ended the investigation. Marshall, your thoughts about it?
Yeah, well, in many ways, it was staged by them, by the FBI or the corrupt side of the FBI.
Or elements inside the Secret Service working with that? I agree with that.
The corrupt people. It was staged absolutely by them.
It's still under Chris Wray.
And they made sure and killed the kid. He was the patsy. They killed that guy. Sure, it was staged.
So are these people so off their rocker suggesting it wasn't staged, but they're not really finalizing a pinpointed objective viewpoint about realizing who created the stage, who set the stage up, who masqueraded of creating this ensemble piece to try to kill President Trump? Was it the FBI working in concert with Secret Service and many DHS people at the time under the Biden administration, which it was? So why aren't they being attacked? And why is President Trump saying he orchestrated this whole thing? He wasn't president.
The whole thing is they're trying to point it at Trump when, like you just said, he wasn't in charge of any of he's not going around cooking the recipes.
Right.
He's got people that do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, he shows up, the fact that they're trying to make it sound like Trump did it, he's faked it, he never got hit by a bullet. The guy Compouture never got murdered, never got killed. The hydraulics on that truck, it got hit by the tube and the tube blew up and was shooting all over it. All that shit was just kind of happened. No way.
Yeah, you're breaking up. Yeah, I know. I got you. All right, let's move on. Let's continue. So David Wilcox, we're going to get to more conspiracies. We're going to cover a lot of this. Everybody who doesn't know David Wilcox, I will fill you in. Didn't kill himself. This was murder. This was a broadcast days before David Wilcock, the ufologist, something very big in some way, supposedly killed himself. RIP, something doesn't add up. This is going with
I'm excited to be here.
The discussion of everything that's happening with these scientists.
Every day that I have on earth is a
ufologists.
gift and a blessing, and I'm very grateful for that because, frankly, people are disappearing. Scientists are going missing.
Wow.
Now they're saying they're going to investigate this. The president himself is saying they're going to look into this and see if anything's going on. It's a little bit scary. I got to say, it's a little bit scary, but you guys knew that I might still show up even though it was last minute and I've had a really rough week. Like, that's kind of like every week, but somehow we keep on making it through all of this.
Okay, that was put out. I got more to cover. I got a bunch of stories on this. I would say I got like 5 or 6 different competing articles that are going to show you some really interesting conversations and stuff. This comes from Hindustan Times. Let me put this up. I got something from Mike Adams. That's a good one, but I'm not a big fan of him per se. But here we go. What happened to David Wilcock? Boulder death probe sparks concern about the writer, UFO specialist. I'll blow this up a little bit so you can see it. Death, according to the police, Raul Menia had traveled overnight to Delhi by hiring a van and then came straight to his house. The investigation in what just happened? Oh my God. Oh, here it is. Okay. They're trying to. So a death probe in Boulder, Cal fueled all these rumors. So update, TMZ confirmed that David Wilcock, UFO specialist and writer, passed away at the age of 53. Cited unspecified sources to report that the paranormal writer, as YouTuber, passed away early. The representatives in Annapolina announced his news of his passing on X, and we just learned the tragic passing of him. We were praying for his family. Original story, a death investigation in Boulder County, Colorado, sparked a claim that the popular paranormal writer and streamer David Wilcock may have passed away. Multiple posts have it. However, up now, the family representatives have not said otherwise. Let me continue. I got another one I want to get into. I got a bunch of stories. I want to go through this and show you that how big this is, and a lot of people are trying to undercut it. Mainstream media will not touch this at all. You have to find it on Yandex to really cut through the norm. So did David Wilcock kill himself? What we know about the UFO expert's final days amid his death claims. I'll blow this up more. This is another good discussion. David Wilcock, popular ufologist, expert filmmaker, YouTuber, known for contribution to paranormal UFO disclosure movement, is reportedly dead. The disclosure movement advocate reportedly found dead after Boulder, Colorado officials responded to a 911 call about a possible mental health crisis. Many are still questioning whether he has really died. So what really happened? Apparently, he killed himself with a gun outside when the police showed up. The speculation after his death, investigation in Boulder County was made public on April 20th, 2026. Boulder County officials, Sheriff's Department reported a man experiencing mental health crisis has died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound near the 1400 block Ridge Road, Colorado. While the identity has yet been officially revealed, many are convinced it was David Wilcock. The coroner's office has yet released the official details, and neither Wilcock's family or representative have publicly verified his death. Interesting. Adding to the buzz, news that the 53-year-old's star death published and reposted by fellow experts and Wilcock's colleagues. Yeah, that's big. However, not all agree that it was in fact David Wilcock, as officials have not released the official name of the victim. Regardless to say, some say the paranormal expert have been struggling after his divorce from his wife, Elizabeth Serafin. Meanwhile, some of Wilcock's colleagues have expressed their condolences about his unexpected demise. Let me get into some more. All right, I got a lot more about this. So we have a couple more things. Here we go. This comes from the People's Voice. I thought this was an interesting thing. It gets a little bit more in depth. I want to show you how many people are discussing this and they're viewing this. Not suicidal at all. David Wilcock warned of missing scientists just days before his suicide. Seems like a natural reaction and an understanding about why, if his death happened untimely, disclosure community demands answers. In what is rapidly reshaping one of the most blatant suicidings in history of the UFO disclosure movement, beloved researcher, author, and ancient aliens personality David Wilcock was pronounced dead on April 20th. According to the official story, a man was standing outside his residence, armed with a weapon. Within minutes of law enforcement arriving, he allegedly turned the gun on himself. Case closed, moved along. Except everything screams otherwise. Adding explosive fuel to the fire is now a viral post of Wilcock himself in which he declared in no certain terms, I plan on living, no suicidal at all, just concerned about what happens when you prove God is real. Wow. I plan on living, you could see it. Just 48 hours and may now be the final public live stream. Wilcock looked straight into the camera and delivered a chilling message that has an entire truth-seeking community on red alert. I'm excited to be here, and every day I have on earth is a gift and a blessing. And I am grateful for those that, because frankly, people are disappearing and scientists are going missing. He continued noting the suspicious deaths and vanishings in the field, and even referencing potential investigations by high-level officials. The tone was not one of despair, but it was one of cautious excitement mixed with genuine concern. He was grateful still to be alive while sounding the alarm on a growing pattern of eliminating voices. Look at this. The pattern is impossible to ignore. Eric von Däniken reported passing early in 2026. Nick Pope died of cancer not too long ago, another ufologist. Other prominent UFO and ancient astronaut researchers have met untimely ends or simply vanished. Wilcock's own biographer and collaborator is said to have died just days before. That's kind of suspicious if you think. Now, the man who spent decades exposing breakaway civilizations, that's a.k.a. Richard Dolan, has anybody checked in on him? Secret space programs, non-human intelligence treaties, and suppressed free energy technology is removed right as disclosure game is heating up. Coincidence? In the world of black projects and intelligence operations, there are no coincidences, only operations. Many in the community are openly calling this a classic hit. The playbook is well known. Isolate the target, stage mental health, call, ensure the individual is outside invisible, and let the official narrative write itself as suicide by cop. Marshall, your thoughts? I got more to go on this. This is getting deeper and deeper. We're getting into the conspiracy fever pitch that's all over the place. It's happening that many people are saying the narratives, the matrix is crap, is crumbling. We don't believe Trump's assassination attempt. We don't believe this. We don't believe that. You're seeing scientists and contractors and all these engineers that are just disappearing out of the whim. Is it coincidental? Is there something going on? Let me ask you right now, because I said this on Thomas's show, is that a lot of people don't understand. And I would say this is more, if this is something of a hit, okay, something of doing away with these people in some way, I would focus on proprietary, controlled information products on technology or owned exclusively by individuals or organizations protected by patents, trademarks, or copyrights to prevent unauthorized use. Just like I said, what was happening to naturopathic doctors, I said it yesterday on True Reporting, that happened for over a period of time of over 10 years, all right, that you were seeing people just disappear from 2010 to about 2020, being murdered left and right, Florida doctors all over the place, and then people just chalked it up as a coincidence and accidental suicides and overdoses and what have you. But the reality is, is it really our government or is it corporates that are involved of preventing the idea of protecting the trademarks and the patents that are in place right now, that they cannot be whistleblowers, and if they are shown this way to the door, they will be excised off this mortar coil. And I do believe in some way that the accountability and the weaponization that is involved in this in some way is being done by levels of groups, like let's just say Skunk Works, EG&G, Lockheed. I'm not saying them specifically, but I can go through a whole list right there. You can go through a whole list of groups of people that work outside, okay, the paramilitary or the Pentagon, that are operating through subsidization in so many ways, getting money through these different types of black work, skunk work operations, that we are overseeing these things, and that when they are privatized in some way, copyrighted, patented, trademark, because a new technology has been born. They want to control the very last interest of allowing their competitors or anybody else to allow this type of information to shuffle out.
Yeah, Brett, this shit's been going on forever. You like the guy that invented the water car that didn't use gas years
Right.
ago that they killed. And it's just corporate espionage. That's all it is. And the
Yeah.
problem, what we have with this, is that the corporations are more powerful than the governments.
Yep.
The corporations actually own the governments, or they have, hopefully up until now, and hopefully that's going to change.
Right.
What's that?
They have a vested interest inside.
Yeah. And I don't think it's just about the free energy. This guy was inventing a new car that was going to fly around.
Right.
There's already numbers of people that are already doing that. I don't think it's just about that stuff. I think they don't want us to know what's beyond the ice wall. That's where I think the real deal hits the wall.
Well, ultimately, what my suggestion was, and how I laid this out, is that ultimately it's about follow the money. And when you equivocate the money to the trademark and the patent and how much you can put a meter on new discoveries, but how do you put a new discovery on free energy? How do you put that out there in some way? And you can consider that oil, gas, and nuclear are in play of nixing all these people, because in some way they might be silencing these people to protect their own interest on making all this money, oil, gas, and other natural and all these other natural resources that we're utilizing and that they're profiting off of. Think Venezuela, think Iran. So think about what's going on right now. It's very timely that you consider that, saying, oh, it's deep state, it's Pentagon, it's CIA, it's NSA, it's group. Or you could talk about the proprietary companies that are involved of keeping their actual interest in check and making sure no one has a viable interest in hearing and seeing what they have created. But also consider that you might have oil and gas, even nuclear in some way, looking to what? Protect their vital interests to continue on with the 19th and 20th century agenda of this oil, preserve, so to speak, and profiting off that. So they also have something in tow to keep in line. So by executing all these other people that are on the forefront or have been on the peripheral of creating new technology, new energy patterns, new anything in some way that would upset their apple cart, it would behoove them to silence them if they were going to become a whistleblower to prove and provide evidence that we don't need oil, gas, or even nuclear to a lesser degree. So consider that and weigh these things in multiple fashions. Let's continue on. David Wilcock's suicide is the latest in the pattern, and they're silencing the truth tellers. This comes from Mike Adams and Natural News. I'm not a big fan of this guy, but he did write a good piece here. The news that Wilcock has reportedly died by suicide is a grim announcement that should be met with immediate, profound skepticism. For anyone familiar with his decades-long work delving in ancient civilizations, consciousness, and suppressed technologies, the idea that he would take his own life fails the most basic smell test. Absolutely, I agree. I believe we owe it to Dave, to every seeker of truth, to interrogate this narrative with the same rigor applied to his investigations, blindly accepting the word of authorities, the same entities that lied about COVID, vaccine efficacy, covered up election interference, whitewash Jeffrey Epstein's stage death is a betrayal of the very curiosity that drives the human progress. Absolutely agree. The official story is often the cover story of the world where the CDC, FDA, FBI routinely deceive the public. The burden of proof rests with them. Well, they're not involved with this. It's just local authorities in Boulder, Colorado. We don't know how that is. Even if you don't agree with this conclusion or views, we must honor Wilcock's core intentions by demanding evidence, questioning motives, and refusing to let his life's work be buried. The man I knew. I'm going to move through this. A sinister pattern. Culling of pioneers. This really gets interesting. David Wilcock's death is not an isolated tragedy. It is in the latest entry in a ledger of loss that reads like a hit list, targeting some of the humanity's most adventurous thinkers. For years, researchers working on the breakthrough energy technologies projects that could end our dependence on fossil fuels and centralized power grids. Again, I hearken back to what I was saying earlier, that these people that are being, let's just say, whitewashed, eliminated, delineated, deleted in so many ways, or let's just say removed outside of the purview that we see, rest on the contingency of what I'm suggesting could be, and we should be focusing on is what the people who have the most to lose, the people that have the fossil fuels and centralized power grids, control, have died under suspicious circumstances. The count is often cited as 10 to 11 scientists in short span. These are not coincidences. They are casualties in a silent war over humanity's future. The plot thickens with the death of Wilcox's biographer, Winfrey, just days before David's own passing. That's extraordinary. The odds these two collaborators in such an esoteric, threatening research dying independently within such a tight window stretch credulity, and raise questions. This adds another layer of sinister improbability to the official suicide claim. Those who control the world enough through energy, that's important, scarcity, debt-based finance, and medical tyranny cannot afford a revelation that makes their entire oppressive apparatus obsolete. When a truth teller's work threatens to unravel that control, the response from the global predator class is always the same: censorship, character assassination, as we might see is seeing here, the physical removal. The deaths of Wilcox and his peers are likely not random acts of fate. They point to the possibility of systematic culling of pioneers who dared to chart a path to human liberation. Wow. Marshall, there's more to this. I'm going to drop this in the chat. I did like this one. Your thoughts? I'm going to drop a couple of them in the chat because people are asking. Go ahead. What's your thoughts?
You know what? I'm going to throw this one out there. Imagine if this is all part of what we've been watching, from Iran to everything, all of it. Imagine this is part of this. Imagine if none of these people were actually even dead.
Mm-hmm.
That we're supposed to read these stories and say, wait a minute, why are they killing these people? Is this something to wake people up, to make them see? I mean, I don't know. Because it seems very blatant that you would have, 11 now? 11 sign. And I know the mainstream media isn't talking about it all.
We got a 12th one I'm going to cover.
Well, there's a 12th. That's the one I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
I almost feel like this is something where we're being told or shown. We're being walked down a road somewhere here. I feel like we're being walked down a road on this. I don't know if all these people are actually. Is this a story we're supposed to hear? I mean, what do you think, Brad? I mean, I don't. After everything,
well, I mean, we can't account for the missing, but those that have been stated as dead, that's where everything is confounded. Are they dead? Really? Have they faked their death? I mean, the whole discussion about Wilcox has not been a confirmed discussion. Thank you, Darlell. Gift of the cookie. Why did Admiral Byrd put a Masonic lodge on Antarctica? The Order of the Penguin. Look it up, and who's there attending all these countries that signed a treaty. Interesting. Alphabet Omega Pill gifted the cookie. Thank you. Darlow gifted the can. I will jump for joy if Obama's arrested. He's been up to no good all during Trump and Biden's presidency. Plus, you're right. He was illegally placed. I never voted for him, and I bet the election was stolen. And anybody that actually voted for that guy, you should pay a heavy, heavy penalty, as far as I'm concerned. You should. Not because you're just stupid and ignorant. It just proves to me that if you're a woman, you're a Karen. And if you voted for him, you're probably gay or one of these people that are minority lovers. Thea gifted the can. Thank you so much, Thea, for the 1,000 gold pills. Thank you so much. Darla gifted the can. The only people protesting, the people living off the sweat of patriots. Absolutely. Yeah, I lost my YouTube stream. I don't know what happened to it. Like, share, and subscribe. Drops a gold poll, comments, questions, and concerns. You can help us over here on Rumble. Let's see some Rumble rants. Let's see your thoughts and stuff. You guys got a lot of things to say. Let me continue on. I dropped these things in the chat. I'm going to drop this in the chat. Military veteran with NASA ties, along with his family, killed in a plane crash. This just happened a couple of days ago. So a decorated veteran pilot with ties to aerospace research, it's part of the conspiracy thing, and NASA was killed in a plane crash along with members of his family last Friday in South Carolina, raising questions about the disappearance and deaths of 11 scientists involved in a nuclear and space research. James Tony Moffat, 60, was flying with his wife, Lisa, 61, and sons, Andrew, 30, and William, 28. Wow, what a sad, sad tragedy. The whole family went down when the plane went down around 6:30 p.m. They were returning home to Huntsville, Alabama from North Carolina on a Mooney M20 single-engine aircraft. Authorities have not released the cause of the crash, as the National Transportation Safety Board and Federal Aviation Administration continued to investigate the incident. Moffett holds a master's degree in aerospace engineering from Georgia Tech in '88 and previously studied an experimental test pilot in the U.S. Naval Test Pilot School. After his 21-year career in the military, Moffett worked as a payload and flight crew support specialist at NASA's Johnson Space Center astronaut office, where he took part in a 14-year Space Shuttle ISS construction mission. A member of the House Oversight Committee this week suggested that America's adversaries could be behind the death or disappearance of all these several scientists. At least 11 American scientists linked to sensitive research have either died or gone missing in years. All right, so again, I will put this in there. I will bring forth again the supposition and the theory that the idea is that we need to consider that these deaths that are happening are not necessarily because of foreign entities. We're talking about entities in our own country that might be connected to oil and gas industry and many other different groups. So you have to consider that, and you have to look in this, because whatever they know or whatever they have as classified directives of stuff that they can't speak about or talk about, or jet propulsion systems that they work on, whether it's free energy technology, what have you, and stuff. Who are they a greater threat? Are they a greater threat to the corporatists, the proprietary holders of the information products that are holding the patents and the trademarks of said organizations, or the copyrights? All right, or are they a greater threat to the true competitors of industries that are secretly working to make sure that we move off of oil and gas and move into a futuristic world, that we're not relying upon 19th and 20th century technology? Consider that and understand where I'm going with this, Marshall.
Yeah, there's a, it's definitely, I definitely think there's some corporate interest here involved in this. Another one is with NASA. They don't want their ass shown to be 25 billion fraudsters.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another plot theory.
Right.
And they could be all of them. Could be all of them.
It could be all of the above. I'm not implying that it's one over the other, but who's got a greater, let's just say,
corporates.
Who's got a greater, let's just say, impact to lose a lot more? The whistleblowers, the people that are going to speak about this because of what they're hiding. I mean, you sign NDAs, you're under the umbrella of a corporation. So realistically, that the exclusivity on individuals or organizations are locked in. All right. So they're protected in any way. So it doesn't matter what you say to, the Congress or anybody else and stuff, is that you're violating these agreements, and that these type of laws that are in place to protect the proprietary technology will come first. It doesn't matter what you do. But the greater threat, I think, for the people that are out there that could pose a significant threat, an automatic threat to the oil and gas industry, would fall under this umbrella. Because if the proprietary technology corporations were allowed these people to speak in deference to the House, to the Senate, in any way, freely, without reprisal, without anything, that sets up another stage. That completely convinces me is that, so if you're being allowed to push this narrative out there, who's it a threat to? Consider that. Not necessarily to the threat of the people that are going to make money off of free technology or new technology in some way, but offer an old paradigm, an old paradox that lays in wait for a very long time. I mean, the idea that we sit there and we toil about the idea about oil and gas, and that's what we fight about. We fight about it. We're fighting about it in Iran. We're fighting about it in Venezuela. This is what makes the world go around. If we were in some way to drop this on our economy, even though it would crash automatically, or leak this out in so many different ways to spread this information, because we all know the concept of talking about UFOs traversing the skies or underwater really is not about the UFOs or who's operating these vehicles. It's about the technology, because they are not using oil and gas. See, that is what you need to really put in your mind. And if they're not using oil and gas, what is this alternative energy they're using that we need to use that could rid us of these forever wars? Consider that as your, let's just say, we'll be parting ways very soon, but I want you to put that in your back of your mind. All right, here we are. Ancient Bible story about fallen angels resurfaces as UFO disclosure reaches a tipping point. I believe President Trump will be discussing this, releasing this, and a lot of different stuff. But the argument and the theory that is coming about how is disclosure going to look, where is it going to come from, what is it going to mean? Is it about energy? Is it about resource? Is it about the operators of these said vehicles? Is it about fallen angels? What is it having to do? Congressman Anna Polina Luna Friday. I'm not a big fan of her. I don't trust her anyway. Recently posted 2 cryptic messages on X telling people to read the Book of Enoch. Well, that's good. And the other displaying the 15th century painting nicknamed the Madonna of the UFO. It is the latest reference to the chairwoman's of the House Oversight Committee hearings on UFO. It's made the Book of Enoch while speaking extraterrestrials and aliens. You could buy it. You should go buy it, own it, and read it, because that is part. The Bible might have like 4 different or 5 different missing components or pieces that were separated for a reason. The Book of Enoch is one of them. So there's no doubt about it. It is completely connected to the Bible, and it was purposely left out for the very reason she's suggesting, because it has ancient text that leads to something. And what is that something? The book is an ancient Jewish religious text written in stages between 300 and 100 BC. They're true to biblical figures. Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah. We just discovered where Noah's Ark is in Turkey with all these tunnels. And what does that mean? However, it has often been viewed as a controversial and is not part of the standard Bible used by most Jews. Well, we don't care, Protestant or Catholics. Well, if you're any of those 3, you shouldn't worry about them, because they're irrelevant to the concept of what the Bible means and what it means to you as being a Christian. The core story of Enoch's book of the Watchers describes how a group of angels descended to earth to mate with human women and gave birth to a race of giants before the biblical flood. Noah's Ark survived. Yep, the Nephilim. This is purposely written out of the Bible for a reason, and I think people need to understand who these descendants are, how they came to be, and why this was set up in this manner, and thus why God's wrath, allowed Noah's Ark to survive, and what became of that, and what set the stage for the future pretext of the survivability for Noah's Ark. And now that we know that Noah's Ark is not only real, that we can find it, we can grapple with the idea, and we can locate it. It just sets the stage for bigger alternatives of a future that we need to postulate and theorize about how we see the world today. Luna also been appointed as a chairman for the House Oversight. I don't care. With the classifying government secrets, I don't care. As repeatedly claimed, this book is removed from the modern Bible to suppress information regarding ancient sightings of supernatural beings. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that. Just 60 minutes after posting the Book of Enoch on Saturday, Luna posted an image of the painting of Madonna and a child with the infant St. John, also known as the Madonna of the UFO, with no caption, sending conspiracy theorists wild with the speculation about what Luna has learned during this time. There you go. There it is. I think people need to look at that, read the Book of Enoch. I could not. You can go buy it. You could go buy it on any bookstore. You could buy it on Amazon. I highly push you to go and read it and to look at it to see if there's any incongruencies. But you can see that there's something there that was extrapolated out, and there was a reason why the people that were the purveyors of creating the Bible, which is man, and the Catholic Church of controlling the separation of multiple books. There might be 4 or 5 books that have been separated, been locked away in the vault of the Vatican, and that have, let's just put it this way, have hidden history information that would relegate us to another level of ascension. But they purposely hid away and did away with this to control us, to mind fuck with us, MK Ultras, to make sure that they can utilize the Pope as the vicar, and that we will all be, let's just say, hook, line, and sinker through that. And it's no longer. No one buys the Catholic Church anymore. The Vatican is garbage. The papal see sits on what? A fucking bed of lies, a bed of trash, a bed of dead ashes, a bed of what? Children that were murdered, raped, and abused. I'm done with it. There's nothing that the Catholic Church represents for me anymore. The Vatican is what? Just another controlled mechanism of a vault of information that they hide away from the public, that was probably stolen from the time of Alexandria, that was recovered, and that they control all the information of human, let's just say, revitalization, and the possibility of what? Maintaining a certain assertion to a level or extension of our life. It's just disgusting, and I'm just so done. I'm just so done with all this stuff. But the Book of Enoch, as it's being revealed, is just one part of major of one of 5 books that the Bible has cut out.
Yeah, I find it very interesting that Anna Paulina Luna put that out, of all people.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I find it very interesting. Now,
Why
it's
do you
just-
find it interesting? What is her purpose in her
Well, I
agenda?
mean, she's of Jewish descent, more or less. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if I just find a person like her. She was a stripper, I guess, back in the day or whatever, apparently, allegedly. I just find it interesting. She may end up being somebody we don't realize who she is.
Right.
I mean, because that, to me, when I saw that, I'm like, this is the person that put that out. I mean, I would have thought somebody else, maybe in Congress.
What's her agenda, though? She has a big agenda, like Tim Burchett, to
what's the end?
push forth about disclosing UFO relative information regarding what? I mean, what is your agenda focused on? Are you getting paid to push this in some way? But I mean, I don't understand. What is it in for her to make sure that this information will be released in such said matter and stuff? I mean, is her, let's just say, talking points real? Is it honest? Is it deliberate? I don't know. I mean, I just, I find the way she comes about discussing certain subject matter, like when she goes on Patrick Bet David and say, oh, by the way, Charlie Kirk's wife, Erica, lost her kids. And then there are people like, well, what do you mean they lost her kids? Well, the kids were taken away from her. Well, why would her kids be taken away from her? Were her kids that became and then the conversation just died. She's like one of these people that drops these things and then just walks away. You know what I'm saying? So I question not the veracity, the authentication, and the realism of why she's doing it. Is she doing it for herself? Is she doing it for clicks? What is the, let's just say, logical conclusion of her putting forth this information? Who does it serve? How does it serve in some way? How does it operate from? I'm not arguing that her putting the stuff out isn't good, but I'm just saying, what is her modus operandi by doing so?
It's hard to tell, man. I mean,
yeah,
she's a mystery person right now.
Mhm.
She seemed like, at first, she seemed like an MTG type person. That's what it doesn't seem like that as much now. But I don't know. We just have to watch her. And by the way, TP USA had a college thing last night.
Yeah.
Not televised pretty much anywhere. RSB didn't show it. I managed to find it. There
Wow.
was barely 1,000 people there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Unless President Trump shows up, they're dead in the water. I mean, they've walked away from JD
It's like
Vance.
700 people.
I mean, they're basically trying to say that she's going to run for president in 2028. Yeah, good luck. Is that
Even
in
John Jr.
handcuffs?
was
What's that?
John Jr. was one of the speakers, and it's like, nope. It didn't seem to really help them a lot. They didn't have a huge rally.
Yeah, I think people are getting the gist. And I'm wondering if there's a reason why they're putting up big names to see how this unfolds. Because they're basically, look, people just don't buy TPUSA. They don't believe Tyler Robinson killed this guy. They don't believe anything about her. She's basically going to be pushed aside very soon. I can't imagine her continuing on as the spokeswoman or CEO of this country. They have to get rid of her and dump her. If you're the shareholder of this company, you could see this is a crying shame. But we're made to see how embarrassing this was, or how fake and gay the organization was. And look, the representation of what Charlie Kirk meant to this was bigger and bolder than any one person that could fill his shoes. So what it is now and what it is then is completely different. And I think people are completely just, I think they're overlooking and they're overperforming and underdeveloping the scenario. They're not getting it. They think in some way they can continue to push this whole machination onto and people see right through it. If the kids are not showing up at these college events, that to me is a telling. That tells me that the younger generation is looking at this, whether they left Joe Rogan to go to Candace Owens or what have you. They are just no longer buying into any of this stuff anymore, and they're trying to figure it out on their own, and good for them.
The kids are watching old Hitler speeches. That's what they're doing.
Wow. Because
he told a lot of fucking truth back then. Yeah. And we never saw it growing up, Brett. They never.
My grandfather, who was Italian, they're from Italy, and my great grandmother, and I remember when I was younger, my grandfather used to tell me all the time, talk about Hitler, because they hated Mussolini because of what he became as a fascist. All right. Not because, and what he did to the people, not because him working with Hitler. But my grandfather used to say to me all the time, I remember when he was going to Catholic school, and he's like, say this to the nuns and say, how could one man completely convince a whole country to support him and act in the way he was doing? There had to have been a reason. They all had to feel something about something that they all agreed upon and they were okay doing. So one man couldn't brainwash an entire country into feeling and doing things in such a manner without having people to not necessarily feel whatever they were dealing with at the time. And I'll just leave it at that. And that's coming from an Italian grandfather.
They loved it.
Yeah.
That's what I know.
And and I remember reminiscing about him when he talked about Mussolini and about what Mussolini's problems were in some way. He was a criminal. He was just a crook. He was just all about power, fascism, and all this stuff. It's like he did nothing other than use Hitler's coattails to abscond from acquiescing and helping the people and using it as a cover in some way to gain power in some way. But if you look at him, he was nothing. He was a fledgling. All right. When you talk about the Italian people never believed or supported all this other stuff, they were forced to go along with this in some way, as they did. Just look at the Vichy French were during the time when they were invaded by Hitler. But the question will still remain: had one man convinced an entire country to follow him in this in some way? Something had to have been what? Galvanizing in some ways, that the culture of the community of the country had enough since World War I and to World War II, that there was something in between they felt like was not right, and something had to take place. So you can't blame it on one man. You have to consider that an entire country was backing up this one man to continue on doing what he was doing, whether you liked it or not. So is it the problem of just the rhetoric of one person, or the galvanization of people feeling the same sentiment that one man had, that rose to power, that wanted to wield it in such a way and to move forward to express what Germany was feeling at that time? Consider that. I remember my Italian grandfather saying that to me, and believe me, the Italians have very different viewpoints about how they see World War II. They do, especially the older ones that are still alive, that experienced it as a child. And, if there are any grandparents left, probably not. You have to consider how they viewed this in so many different ways. All right.
And even Patton was against it. He said we fought the wrong people.
Exactly. We always did fight the wrong people and stuff in some ways. He knew that the Nazis at the time, the German people, were efficient enough to carry out, to maintain, to rebuild their own country, and to use them. All right. And also, the idea is that instead of having a separation, which we did with the Berlin Wall, that we could have fought the Russians at the time, and then make sure that we didn't have this problem. But we allowed this to take place. They knew it was going to happen, and they didn't matter. It didn't matter. They wanted this to happen, East versus West. They wanted this blockade. They wanted the separation, and here we are. So just now, the Fed chairman, Kevin Walsh, this was yesterday, infuriated Senator Elizabeth Warren after she asked who won the 2020 election. I got a couple more things about this as part of the conspiracy stuff, and then we'll end the show.
Pretty easy. Mr. Warsh, did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
We try to keep politics, if I'm confirmed, out of the federal.
I'm just asking you a factual question. I need to know, I need to measure your independence and your courage.
Senator, I believe that this body
My
certified
independence
that
and
election
courage.
many years ago.
That's not the question I'm asking. I'm asking, did Donald Trump lose in 2020?
I'm suggesting you in 2020, the Fed
can't
made
answer that.
huge inflation problem, and you certified the election.
So let me ask you
Politics
another
out
question.
of monetary policy.
In our meeting, you
monetary
said
policy out
you
of
would
politics.
be independent and your courage. We'll start easy. Mr. Warsh, did Donald Trump lose the 2020?
That's pretty big. He even said it to her. You guys certified the election. So, I mean, that's on you. He's putting that out there. And he didn't get caught in her trap. Here's another thing from the new Fed chairman, or the incoming Fed chairman, that is going to take place. Interesting commentary that is happening right now that you should take, let's just say, ownership to. You should hear about how this stuff is being discussed. And I think that this new Fed chairman, as he put it, he might be part of what President Trump talks about all the time, someone that is central casting. Well, here he goes. Name one of Trump's economic agendas you agree with. Listen to this.
Said you would be independent because you're, quote, a tough guy. Those were your words, tough guy. And you will be able to stand up to President Trump. So let's try it again. Name one aspect of President Trump's economic agenda with which you disagree.
Well, Senator, the Federal Reserve in recent years has wandered outside of its remit, wandered into other
I'm
areas.
asking for something
That's
you
not something
disagree
I'm
with
prepared to
Donald
do.
Trump on.
If I'm
Just
confirmed,
one
the Federal
one
Reserve should stay in
economic
its
issue.
lane.
Just one little place where you disagree with Donald
Well, I
Trump.
do have a disagreement, actually, Senator, with the president. I think even this morning, he said that he thought I was out of central casting.
Oh.
I think central casting, I
Oh.
would further grayer and maybe show up here with a cigar of sorts.
Quite adorable. But you know, we need a Fed chair who is independent. That's the only way we preserve the independence
I agree
of the
with
Federal Reserve.
We don't have one.
These questions, you don't have the courage and you don't have the independence.
I agree.
You don't have the courage. You don't have the independence. That's the problem. We don't have the independence, Marshall. I got more. Let me continue. I got a couple of these
That's
things
just-
because
as if the original guy is worth a shit.
exactly. But the fact that he called himself central casting and put that on notice, and they all laughed, shows
I like
you
it.
how fake and gay is. And I like the guy is putting himself on blast because he's admitting that he's put there as a prop, as an agitprop. All right, to be there to what? To oversee the final vanquishing of the ending of the Fed. As Julie Donuts puts out, the Fed beginning of the end. Listen carefully. This is something between NATO, the UN, and the Federal Reserve going bye-bye. These are three of the pillars that are inside our controlled apparatus that I cannot wait to see go bye-bye. This is fantastic. Listen to this.
Ensuring that the conduct of monetary policy remains strictly independent. Equally committed to work with the administration and Congress on non-monetary matters that are part of the Fed's remit, and I commit myself to accountability. Finally, I'll just say this, Mr. Chairman. Milton Friedman had a phrase that always stayed with me. He always worried about government officials that lured and hung around with what he called the tyranny of the status quo. Status quo practices and policies are especially harmful when the world is changing this fast. If confirmed as chairman, I will be faithful to the Constitution, to the Federal Reserve Act, and to the very best of the Fed's traditions. I believe a reform-oriented Fed can make a real difference to the American people. And if confirmed, I will seek to create an environment in which the best people do their best work. I'm committed.
Wow. A lot of good stuff coming out of this guy that's incoming, that's going to be. But I can tell you right now, what you're seeing right now is all a farce. It's all an illusion, and it's all there to what? Convince you in some way that things will change. No, they are changing, but they're going to change in a different direction. This guy's not in charge. The new Fed is not in charge. They lost power. He's just an actor. He's a bit player. As Senator Kennedy calls out Elizabeth Warren for her hypocrisy during the Fed chairman nominee of Kevin Walsh's hearing, Warren said, you might use your power to bail out your friends if you get in trouble. Kind of like what Biden did with the Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. This was a good one. Watch this.
The sock puppet.
That's what he's a sock puppet.
I heard the reference from Senator Warren.
Yeah, what
earlier.
is it?
I'm not sure I know. I think
Okay.
it's that thing you stick your hand in.
Yeah, kind of like this.
Yes.
What's a human sock? Isn't a human sock puppet somebody who'll do what somebody else tells them to do?
I think that's what the senator was trying to suggest. I
Are you
think that
going
was
to
the
be
innuendo.
Are you going to be the president's human sock puppet?
Senator, absolutely not.
Are you going to be anybody's human sock puppet?
No, I'm honored the president nominated me for the position, and I'll be an independent actor if confirmed as chairman of the Federal Reserve.
My friend Senator Warren, and she, as my friend, suggested that, I wrote it down, you will use your power. You might use your power to bail out your friends if they get in trouble, kind of like President Biden did with Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. She didn't say the last part. I just did. Are you going to do that?
No, Senator.
Okay.
Wow. All right. That was that. Darla, I'll give to the cookie. Whatever is going to be disclosed is going to be biblical. President Trump needs the Bible from the Oval Office. It's getting closer. Q people are probably excited, but nothing can stop what is coming. Yes. Would USA thank you for the 635 gold pills? Need more gold pill love. Last of my pills. Have to get more. Yeah, no problem. Thank you for always being there and always supporting the platform. Everybody else for doing the same. Marshall, your thoughts? I'm going to move into
I think that guy
probably
is
one
there-
last subject before we dip out.
I think he's there to watch the slow dismantling.
Yeah,
of
the
federal
overseeing of the
he's
of
really
the closure
not
of
even
this.
he's not even overseeing it. He's
Yeah.
just the face. He's the PR guy. He's a temporary PR guy for the Federal
Correct.
Reserve while
Right.
all the bricks are being laid out and driven off on trucks.
You know, I'm interested to see what's going to happen with this new building. Who's going to take over? Does the Treasury move in there now because they built that? And since it's absolved, what's going to happen with this? What is it going to be used for and utilized for? I'd like to find out if that's going to take place, or are we just going to continue with the construct that the Federal Reserve is still there until we're told it no longer exists? When is that going to be a time frame? Are they going to tell us in so many ways, as President Trump say, the Federal Reserve banking system is no longer? We have now absolved it or absorbed it into our own treasury, and we become unified in this matter. Will that be something of a speech? He'll have to make a speech about that. People will have to understand it. You can't just willy-nilly do all this stuff and not explain this to the people of seeing that the transition has taken place. Let's put it this way, the capture of the flag, so to speak, the overture of removing this entity inside our home in some way has to be what? In some way explained. We need to understand and parse this out. All right. You have to explain this. It's like strategic capturing the flag. We have to make sure that this is actually shown to the American public and what had transitioned into. So let me move on. The Trump administration looks to rescue Spirit Airlines. They could take 90% stake in this. Let me tell you right now, I believe we'll have Trump Airlines. I believe so. As WLT previously covered, Spirit Airlines, which is basically a horrible, cheap, garbage airline known for at Dania Airlines at Dania, Florida. It's disgraceful what it is. And underwhelming hospitality is a major financial crisis. The airline is favoring liquidation for its creditors and has sought an emergency bailout from the White House. Currently, Spirit is in talks with the White House to secure a bailout that would give them 90% stake. The Trump administration is in advanced talks for financing a package for Spirit Airlines as a carrier in facing the risk of liquidation, according to a person familiar with the matter. They want to make sure that they buy out the $500 million to make sure that they can keep it liquid and that would buy the shares out and eventually sell the shares off to somebody to do this in some way. I wouldn't be surprised you get Elon Musk or somebody else involved. But for now, you might have Trump Airlines. The iconic discounter Spirit has been challenged for years by rising costs challenging consumer taste and engine recall and court block plan to acquire JetBlue. That's what happened under the Biden administration. They could have had this, but Spirit Airlines would be much firmer financial footing and had Biden administration not recklessly blocked the airline's merger with JetBlue. White House spokesman Kush Desai said the statement to CNBC that the Trump administration continues to monitor it and the health of the aviation industry that millions of Americans rely on every day. I think the potentiality, I'm not saying name it Trump Airlines, because you don't want to name it Trump Airlines, because these airlines will be targets. They will be targets in every operation possible. But the fact is that we're going to control 90% of the liquidity in the stocks, all right, in some way to revive this, to keep this going. There's going to be changes in actually how the airline is run. We might present this off as what? Is this government airlines? How is this going to change? What are we to perceive in the future if this is run better? So if we take over and nationalize the airline industry in some way, is that a good thing or a bad thing? How do people see this in some way? Can it get any worse than what it is? I mean, you would think that the uptick would be better than what it is now. DEI hiring removed. You got too many brown and black people involved with this. You see these fights at these airports, like they're at Popeyes or some type of Kentucky Fried Chicken fatigue. It's embarrassing. But the airline industry is riddled with this, and this is now the second bankruptcy they're in. Should President Trump and this administration do this, or should we just let them fall to the ground and let someone pick up the pieces and rebuild this? Or are we giving them some type of structure to set up with the possibility of someone to buy us out in a cheaper fashion to subsidize this in a different manner? I mean, why not Elon Musk come in here? I mean, seriously, why not come in here? You're loaded. Come in here, buy it on the dirt. And I think that's what is happening. If we're buying $500 million worth of stocks, they're going to sell it for a lot cheaper because they want a potential buyer and they want to get out of this. They want to make their profit, but they want to undersell it for it shorts out later on. Now, the question is, will they be able to sell it for a higher price to get money back on the back end? Or are they doing this in some way to make sure that airline industry in some way is satisfied for what they see as a government subsidized entity? Is that what we're based upon seeing? See, I'm concerned about that in some way. I don't want a government based airline industry. I want it privatized. I want the whole industry to be privatized. I want TSA no longer there. I want it privatized. But who is, let's just say, ready to flip this in some way? There is something there that we're not seeing and understanding of why we're trying to keep this afloat. This is a garbage airline. Honestly, you might as well sell tickets to Spirit Airlines from Popeyes, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Burger King, or all these other third world fucking minority fast food joints. Seriously, that's how bad this airline is and what it caters to. So why keep this afloat, Marshall? Why do this? What is the ultimate goal of doing this?
First of all, if anybody thinks this is a good idea, I'm saying fuck you. All right? This is a bad fucking idea.
Yep.
The government should not be involved in the private sector. Period. They're there to run our country and keep us safe with our military.
Right.
Not do business decisions, open up a candy store or some shit. This airline this is the armpit. This is the Carnival Cruise of airlines, Brett.
Very good analogy. Continue.
It's what it is.
Yeah.
I think,
it's not Disney, it's Carnival. It's Carnival garbage.
Yeah. I think that this is, I almost feel like, again, I've said this before earlier, they're trying to tell us something here. Do you American people want to get involved with your taxes paying for some ghetto airline that you got to sit in a pile
It's a
of
good point.
shit?
Continue. It's a good point. Thank you, Trump One, for the cookie. For Wood, yes. Thank you, Trump One, for the cookie. Darla has the best comments and questions. She does of lately. But continue. There's something off that we're not seeing.
We deserve much better.
Right.
Brett, back in the day when I was a little kid, you could smoke cigarettes on the plane. Well, guess what else, Brett? It was extremely civilized.
Yeah.
Everybody was wearing dresses and suits and ties. It was like the experience. You had good food.
Yeah.
This shit was. Now, I'm not saying that we should smoke cigarettes on the airline.
No, of course
But
not.
what I'm saying is that back then, it was like you were classy.
Mhm.
If you went on an airplane, you're like, yeah, I gotta
Yeah.
wear a nice. Now they're wearing their fucking pajamas on the fucking airline. Look,
Lululemon, it's giving them cancer. Yeah.
sorry, man. I just
No, I just I don't. I have
like
a problem
Walmart,
with this.
they walk around the
I
grocery
have a
store
problem with this. It's like, are we going to subsidize Popeyes or any of these? I mean, I don't want to subsidize anything for minority people, brown and black. I mean, what are we doing? That's who travels on these, like you said, Carnival Cruise
would
Line
never.
airlines. I'm just done with it. And
won't even
I
fly.
understand the low affordability. I understand what President Trump is trying to do in some way, but it cannot be sustainable. It's got to be short term. Find a buyer, sell it out, keep it working so you can make sure that the transit and the traversing of our skies is continuing on. And I understand that. But I mean, are we going to clean it up as we go along? If
we
we
have to
buy it,
look at
I mean,
ourselves.
if you buy it, you bought it in some way for a period of time. We're going to control it. What is going to take place in that? Are we going to clean house? Are we going to hire new CEOs? Are we going to we're going to fire people off the board? I mean, we're taking over an airline. So what does that mean?
I don't like it, man.
I don't like it either. I don't like it either. I'd
wanna-
rather
I
it just
think-
go crash in the dirt, let it go bankrupt, and let someone buy it from the shipyard, and then retool it and bring it back to place. I mean, the fact that we're doing this for sustainability, unless we're going to make this into Trump Airlines, then okay, then let's do it then. So you're going to have a national Trump Airlines. Is this what we're going to go into then? I don't know. I'm being facetious, but I really find this very uncomfortable that we're going to bail out this airline in some way. And I think that when you look at what this airline represents and who flies on it, I find it really grotesque.
Man, I think that Trump is asking us, is this what you want?
Yeah.
Is this what you want?
Yeah.
Is this how you want
Minority
to go
Airlines.
on?
Is that what you want? You want
You
third
wanna
world
go on
airlines,
like this?
minority airlines? I mean, that's it.
That's what I think he's telling. He's putting them in the fucking spotlight.
Exactly. No, let it die. Let it crash and burn. Let them go bankrupt and let someone buy it off the trash heap. Okay? That's the way I look at it. Why do we have to spend $500 million? We need $500 million to go to other programs. There's so many things right now that we need. We need to buy an airline. No, maybe you need to travel less. Okay? I mean,
Fix your family.
I'm sorry. I just have a huge problem with the government buying a privatized industry that should remain private. They should
Shithole.
sell it out, right? And if you understand what Spirit Airlines is, it's a garbage airline. It was created as a garbage airline. It was
Right.
created for a certain culture, a certain group of people, just like how Carnival is now turned into. Honestly, it's embarrassing.
Greyhound, hey Brett, Greyhound buses are now the elite.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you're styling on a Greyhound bus.
I
man.
know because the prices went up, and they're catering
But
to
it's
a certain
nice.
crowd.
Not-
Yeah.
I mean,
All right, this is the end of the show, and I tell you right now, I put a lot of stuff out there. I had a lot of stuff. I want to thank everybody out there for donating. I released the pills. So a Florida resident melts down after new limits of EBT kicks in. No sodas, no ice cream. What we're going to do? I told you exactly what's going to happen. You're going to see less of these people, these minority class people that look like this, that are fat, bloated, overweight, that are going to go into 7-Elevens because they're all closing down, or into Publix or all these other stores, just going down every middle of the aisle shelf grabbing their bonbons, as I'm told what they are now, grabbing Doritos and all these other snacks, soda, and all this other junk food, anything they can scoff down their throat that they consider healthy in some way. Here's what she's bitching about, and listen to this. And you understand why we have a health problem in this country.
No sodas. You can't get your coffee creamer. You can't even get ice cream. That's wrong. What am I to do?
What are you to do? Stop eating fried chicken. Stop fucking eating donuts. Stop drinking soda. What are you to do? Fucking make your own meal. Stop going to McDonald's. Stop crying that you can't use EBT cards, all right, to give your fucking children, your little rugrats, what? Doritos. Fucking make them food. Fucking, this is the problem with these people. Like I said, there's 20% of this population out of, if you minus the 100 million of illegal criminal alien scum in this country, and then you take the 20% off the top of that, so that's from 365 to 100 million to 265, and then you take 20% off of that, these are the people that are going to go bye-bye. And it's going to be the minority class. And good riddance. Good riddance. Because when you have this type of low IQ, low EQ education, that you wonder why you have diabetes, you wonder why your fucking heart's popping out of your chest, that you got the fucking pump fat over your fucking of your shoes. You wonder why. And you're crying because you can't get soda, you can't get anything. Then get a fucking job and pay for it with your own money, not my tax subsidized money. If not, just die of a heart attack, all right, and fuck right off. Because no one really fucking cares anymore. We are sick of you. We're sick of you, your kind, and everything that exists. I am so done with these people.
That's wrong.
Go have some bonbons.
Somebody needs to do something about this. I know it's affecting everybody.
It's affecting everybody.
I eat healthy.
It's gonna save your life,
I
you
love
idiot.
my fruit. I love my sweets too. No soda.
No soda. I mean, the fact that you're bitching that you can't get soda on an EBT card, Doritos, bonbons, whatever fucking garbage you want to shove down your gullet, all right? So you can fucking increase how fat your ass is and take up 3 seats on a plane. No wonder fucking Spirit Airlines is fucking collapsing. Fuck them. And fuck the people that fucking fly in that. This is over. I am sick of these people. If you don't realize, all right, that this is the whole point of understanding. We all eat healthy because we know the importance of that. Because financially, it will come back and kill us later on because of our health care, surgeries, and all these other things. If you start and fix it now, you will save your life. And you won't have the eventual problems like diabetes, which is like what diabetes 3 is. It should be a movie, Diabetes 4, because that fucking fat fuck over there that's like, where's my soda and my bonbons? I got to get Pop Rocks with that too. Why can't I get Pop Rocks? Remember Pop Rocks? I mean, it's just embarrassing that we live in this time that with the amount of information and AI technology that you can't afford to live healthy. Eat a fucking carrot. Chew on some celery. Have some nuts. I don't understand. There are people just wanting to die. And you know what? We might as well send them to Canada. Go directly to the mental health facilities in Canada and seek what? Extermination or euthanasia. Because we don't want you here.
She had 3 different containers of drinks in her hands. One of them was what they call a purple drink, which is...
Yeah, stop with the grape soda.
Stop with the grape drink from Welch's. It's
oh my God.
It's safe. And I'm like, Brett, here's the good news, Brett. I've got good news. Are you ready? This is in Florida. That video I sent you right there that you just showed. That's right here in Florida because it just started on 4/20, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
Get high, don't get Doritos.
Well, they're changing the marijuana laws. You know that. Like President Trump is going to reclassify marijuana. So I don't know where that's going to go. Well, whatever. That it is what it is.
The good news about these people like that lady not getting free EBT SNAP Doritos and grape drinks and all that,
M&Ms.
is that they'll probably,
Reese's Pieces.
hopefully, cross fingers, Brett, these kind of people will start leaving the red states.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Have a nice time. You can get free Doritos in a blue state like
Yeah,
Virginia.
we'll mail you
Get outta here.
boxes of Reese's Pieces. You come and move to Chicago.
Get out.
You could fucking, you could drink
Yeah,
it with
go
your
move.
grape drink and all this other stuff. Yeah, we'll send you malt liquor too. I know it's not on your EBT card, all right, but we'll send you some malt liquor too. I mean, look, the idea, but the whole point of understanding, and I love the idea that EBTs and SNAP have cut all this garbage out, and it's fantastic. And that's why 645 7-Elevens that were built on this fraud, waste, and abuse is all going bye-bye. Do you know a Japanese corporation has bought the LLC that owns 7-Eleven, and now 7-Eleven is going to go bye-bye? Oh, yeah, it's going bye-bye. It'll probably be some type of recorporated, repatriated into something else or sold off at something else. But ultimately, in the end, many, many types of stores like this in some way will be gone. And it's good because you don't need this anymore. We don't need this. I mean, there are people who are just going to learn, there's people who just, like I said, there's a certain percentage of people are never going to learn. They still think that drinking soda, eating Doritos, Oreos, Pop Rocks, and Coca-Cola is healthy. And you know what? It's the same people that, that call you racist. And you know what? You can't wish them to die off faster than anything. You can't. I hope your fucking heart explodes. I hope your heart explodes. Hey, you know what? I'll send you some fucking. Do they even make any of those? What do they make? Twinkies or Hostess cakes or remember all that garbage? Devil dogs. What else? S cookies. I mean, there's so much shit. I don't know if they even make anymore. But you know what? Maybe we should start focusing on the companies about doing. I mean, I think Kennedy should be basically like, look, why don't you start making better food? It's not about removing ingredients. It's about retooling and refining healthier products for you to ingest. Okay? It's not about glyphosate, which it is to a certain degree. But I know it's about the patent, the proprietary technology that is used in substantial abundance that sprays for the cornfields and soy fields. See, what he was saying about that, most people overlook in some ways, that if there wasn't proprietary technology, think about it as with the EpiPen. Now the EpiPen has become the EpiSpray because the pen was proprietary patent, and then that was what it was, how expensive it was. And so they moved away from that. They got the base ingredients of that, made it a spray instead of an injection. We're going to go with that route with glyphosate. See, the problem with these technologies, the organizations, the protected patents, the trademarks, and the copyrights, the problem is how to bifurcate these things to duplicate and replicate at a cheaper form at a healthier way. That is the point about glyphosate, all right? And that's what Kennedy was talking about. And you have to consider that we already had that in production. He just wasn't hinting the idea is that we're stuck right now because we're importing all this garbage from all these other places because we have to what? Do business with and help our farmers in some way to continue on prospering and at this level. And in order for them to prosper, they have to use that spray for the technology in order to protect their crops. But there are things that are out there that are in the works that you can work around this, that are healthy, that are safe, that don't cause cancer, and are not going to kill you. We are Rise. Those cakes are now owned by Bimbos. No kidding, out of Mexico.
Gotcha.
Aloha, Mom. Very good. You're talking about the Hostess stuff and all that. Bimbos.
Yeah, it's Bimbo. It's in Mexico.
I don't know. I don't, like I said, I don't, owned by Bimbos, Trusty. No snark. No fuck. You guys are funny as shit. I mean, honestly, I don't know.
Bimbo
I was just throwing out all the devil
thing.
dogs, Hostess cakes, all the stuff. S
It's all
cookies.
garbage.
Remember
Make your
crumb
own
cake?
stuff.
Remember
Make your
crumb
own-
cake? Do they even make crumb cake? I mean, I don't even go down certain aisles to
Used
know what
be
it is.
Great, man, but now
Right.
they're poisonous.
The only thing I know that is poison that I can tell you, I don't buy it. But if I'm doing traveling long distance and stuff that I have to snack on, if I do, I'll get fruit or some type of bar. I do like Cheez-Its, okay? The plain. But I don't buy it at home. I don't eat it at home. I don't eat I don't eat pretzels. I avoid all the garbage stuff. I snack on blueberries a lot. I eat a lot of yogurt. I've become so anesthetized to yogurt. So addicted to yogurt, blueberries, honey, and little granola that's gluten-free. I'm like have it like 2 or 3 times a day, and that's my snacking.
You're like a walking granola bar.
Yeah, I know. That's what it is. I am. Next thing I know, I'll be humping a tree. All right, that's our show for tonight. We went off on a diatribe. All right, it's getting late. I want to thank everybody out there for supporting the platform. Thank you, Thea 1.2 for supporting. Darla 1.2. Wood USA coming in 852. Thank you all for supporting the platform. I know we had some. I guess we had some light technical difficulties and stuff. Good to see everybody out there on Rumble and YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe out there. If you want to help out Marshall on the way out, ko-fi.com/SurfDog74. We will return on Friday, okay? And we'll have different discussion patterns that we will get at. I will cover the Supremes getting powdered up. I didn't cover it tonight because I thought there were other things I needed to talk about. And we'll see you then. Ciao, Bella. Good night. Peace out. Be well. Be safe. Be smart. Ciao.